Good evening, Deeya. How are you today?
Hi Geerish, I am very good, and you?
Good, good. I'm doing great. You realize that we are recording after almost 1 year, I think now.
Yeah, it feels amazing to be back here with you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, thank you. I think that some people may have forgotten about you, so would you mind introducing yourself to people who don't know you?
Of course, I am Deeya. I'm a personal development coach, and I have been involved in the mental health sector since quite a while. I started in 2017 by creating a support group for those dealing with depression and anxiety. And I kind of fell in love with that, and it went on. So I decided to become a counselor as well. So that's what I'm doing right now. And tonight I'm here with Geerish because this is a subject that really interests me, and I think that it's something that we should be talking about more.
And what is the subject?
So today we are going to talk about depression.
Okay, and you're saying it with a smile. That's a good start. All right. And this time, usually when you say it, it's not really clear, isn't it, in the minds of people. Some people have a very extreme view of it, and some people take it too lightly. So would you mind defining what depression is?
Yes, definitely. So um, I would like it to be quite factual here, so people can have a clear-cut idea of what is depression actually. So according to the World Health Organization, depression can be qualified as a mental illness. And it is the most common mental illness that exists in this 21st century. And it has long-term and short-term effects, and it can affect anyone, irrespective of age, gender, creed, color. So nowadays we have children who are living with depression, as well as young adults, and people who are of old age.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with what you said. I read an article where one of the solutions they proposed actually went back to schools, where they said that it's very important to have a counselor at school now because depression starts from a very early age. And if you look at the context of Mauritius, for example, you've got exams with the year sixes, and there's already so much pressure to actually do exams. So severe anxiety can be actually experienced from a very, very, very young age. So that actually makes sense when you say that it's not specifically towards a certain age, I would say.
Yes, definitely. As you said rightly, children who participate in exams nowadays are very stressed and have anxiety. A lot of them have anxiety. And I believe that this has been the case for a few years now. I would say even for a few decades, but we were not really looking at it. We were not really taking it into consideration. But then nowadays, I think that there is more focus on that subject, which is a really good thing. But the pressure to overperform, to outperform, to outdo oneself, especially when you're a kid, is tremendous. All right. And children don't really have the capacities to contain themselves within that expectations of their parents, teachers, family, society. They are able to do what they can, but then we put extra pressure on them to do that, and that's how it starts. You are unable to handle the pressure, and it's the same for adults. It's the same for adults at work. You're unable to handle the pressure that this industrial era has put upon us. We are unable to also handle the pressure that we have at home to perform as a specific family member. And there's also societal pressure that we cannot overlook. So as a human being, I have a certain capacity to withstand that pressure. But whenever we go beyond that, we end up being burned out at best, or develop serious depression. And that's something that we are all at risk of. And this is why I think that people should be able to understand what's going on inside of them. And more importantly, once that you have understood what's going on for you, to seek help. Because what I've found is that most people fear not receiving the help that they need, and they fear being rejected, ostracized, marginalized by society, because sadly, mental illness is related to craziness, to someone being crazy. You know, it's so easy that we say that this person is crazy, she has depression, or that guy is crazy because he has some anger issues. But what if we go beyond those labels and we see what actually is the issue?
So you would say that one of the causes could be the views of people, the way people look at it. Then people who are actually suffering from it can't easily get the help they need, and it becomes worse. So it's actually the people who are not suffering are causing those who are suffering more damage than they might be thinking, just because of the way they look at them.
Yes, definitely. You know, it adds to the pressure that I was talking about. Let's say one person is suffering from depression, and she wants or he wants to tell his spouse about it, and the spouse is unaware of what is depression. And you know, when he or she goes to the spouse and says, hey, you know, I think that I'm depressed, I think that I am suffering from clinical depression. We say clinical depression because it is a mental condition, you know, and that spouse is going to be like, okay, maybe you're just seeking attention. Maybe you're just trying to be crazy, you know, and that person who's suffering goes to someone else in the family, maybe to an aunt, to an uncle, to a neighbor, and they get the same kind of response, you know. You're either seeking attention, you're either trying to be crazy, or, you know, if you speak about it to someone outside, people are going to look at you in a bad way and tag you, and you might lose your job, you might lose your friends, you might lose your social circle. So all of that puts even more pressure on that person to close up in the face of depression. Instead of opening up and talking about it, seeking the support that they need. And I think that is very damaging.
And it could actually get actually worse, because that might actually lead to suicide or something, or self-harm, or something worse than that. So yeah, definitely the way people look at things, or a lack of being open-minded, is a major problem when it comes to those things. And you know, most of the time when people don't understand something, or when they lack information on something, that's when they have a distorted view about it. It's the same with, for example, sexual orientation. People don't agree that it's always been there. It's just now that it's being more and more, it's being accepted more and more because people are realizing it's normal, but it's always been here for centuries and centuries. It's just that people were not talking about it. So it's the same with mental health. It's always been here. I think it's normal with human beings. We have a nervous system. It's going to fluctuate, and what's important is when people need support, they get the support they need, and it's very human actually to seek help when you need help. So that idea of categorizing people or labeling them in a certain way, I mean, it's hard to get to the source of it. Why would people do that? It's very strange, isn't it, when you think more and more about it?
definitely. It's like you said, it's just a lack of information and an unwillingness
Mm-hmm.
to accept maybe something new in our culture. Because let's be honest, in the Mauritian culture, it's very difficult to talk about it. Mental health is quite taboo here. But
Mm-hmm.
as you said, this is not something recent. This is something that has existed since time immemorial. For instance, suicide has always been here.
Mm-hmm.
People have always committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And suicide is, um, how would I say, not a repercussion of depression. Most people who commit suicide suffer from depression.
Mm-hmm.
So by that, we can already gauge that depression has been existing ever since. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just that we never talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And even more than that, well, additionally to that, I would say, apart from suicide, there has also been postpartum depression, which affects um, 7 in 10 women. So
Mm-hmm.
that's quite a high range,
That's high.
a high rate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been existing ever since. I remember when I was a kid, I would hear about my aunt who would, have issues after giving birth to a child.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that people did not know that they could seek help for that,
Mm-hmm.
or that it was normal because it's hormonal
Yeah.
and it's something that can happen. But when you try to repress the subject, that's where it becomes dangerous because
Mm-hmm.
you're not letting that person who's suffering seek treatment,
Mm-hmm.
be it in the name of honor, in the name of the family, in the name of society. We are not doing a favor to that person who's suffering by telling him or her to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we need to get beyond this now. We all have access to information.
Mm-hmm.
If your child, your spouse, your friend, your cousin, your neighbor comes to you and tells you, hey, I'm feeling depressed,
Mm-hmm.
it is just so easy for you to go on the internet and search what is depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that that's something anyone can do, just to have a broad idea of what it is and what you can do for that person. And I need to say this because it's so important, telling them to snap out of it, telling them to be happy, smile more, be normal. Does not
Mm-hmm.
work. It's the same as if you were having a flu and I would tell you, snap out of it.
Yeah. Smile's
Smile.
going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. Smile.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like if someone is having um COVID, you won't tell them, hey, don't go to the quarantine.
Yeah.
You will encourage them to seek treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Why should we see mental health as something so dissociate from our well-being that we have to hush about it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like if my hand or leg was broken, no one would tell me, hey, don't go get a plaster. Just let it
Mm.
be. Smile, it's going to be fine.
Maybe we should
It's,
try it one day, though.
yeah, let's do a social experiment about that.
Because what's the bigger problem about it? It means denying what's happening to you.
Hmm.
So if someone is really sad and you tell the person, no, smile, you know why? Or you say, I mean, if you're sad, you're sad. You need to fully accept it. It's part of human nature, and you know where it possibly comes from. We have a very, I think we talked about that yesterday. We have a very idealized view about life that it's supposed to be in a certain way. People are supposed to be smiling at work, for example. You're supposed to be behaving in a certain way. You're supposed to be always polite. I mean, you need to make an effort to be polite the whole time. I agree with that. But people have started to fake politeness or fake being good people while not being good people. And that has given rise to more dirty politics and more manipulation. And it all comes from that idea that there's supposed to be a perfect a perfect image. I mean, the same applies for, for body shaming also. Body image, you think that your body should look in a certain way. And when you think about the number of filters they put on the photo of a woman before it gets published on a given book cover or whatever, it's crazy. But people are selling a perfect image, no matter what the gender is. And there is a problem, and once again, it comes back to society trying to push forward an idea that that's perfection. Maybe having a 9 to 4 or 9 to 5 job and getting married and having 2 kids, that's a perfect life. But I don't think it is the perfect life. The perfect life is the life you want to live. So there are bigger issues, obviously, when you think more and more about it. But then you talk about the people who are depressed. But if you look at figures, so right now we've got like 20% of women in Mauritius, they do suffer from depression. And you've got 13.1%. So let's say 13% of men suffer from depression. And if I just go through the age range quickly, if you look at, for example, men, the most predominant age range will be 35 to 44. That's where you have 18% of people from the male gender being depressive. And for women, it's a bit different. It's at 65 plus that it's the most concentrated. It's 27% for 65 plus. So it's different for male and women when we look at the numbers, but now these are numbers. These are official numbers from the NCD survey in Mauritius. And we don't know how many cases which have not been recorded and things like that. But it gives you an indication that, it's from 18 years old up to 65 plus, and you have 8% of people suffering from depression between 18 to 24. And now the interesting thing I want to point out, since we talk about suicide also, right? What I actually did is I took the depressive cases, okay, throughout the years, and then I looked at the suicide rate for the same year, okay, and it makes an interesting reading. Okay, for example, if we take 25 to 34, let's say, okay, 25 to 34 age range, we had 9.2% of the male gender suffering from depression in Mauritius, okay? So 9% people were depressive, but if you look at the suicide rate, it's 24. 24 people killed themselves, and they were from the male gender. Now, same year, 25 to 34, for female gender, you had more women who were depressive, okay? It was 13%. But if you look at the suicide rate now for female, you will think it will be more than male, right? But it's actually 7. So we have an odds of 24 to 7. So for every 24 men who kill themselves, you have 7 women killing themselves. And it's strange that the depression rate is actually the reverse. So what possibly means that women are more depressive, but it actually doesn't go up to suicide. If you look at the figures, male gender is less depressive as per the figures, but they end up killing themselves more. And it's bad. It's 24 to 7. So you have lots and lots of men killing themselves. Which, I mean, you have your own ideas about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you so much for those figures, Geerish. Yes, you said it well. I do have my ideas. We do all have our ideas why it is the way that it is. But that's why we are here, right? That's why we are having this conversation today and sharing it with everyone. And the idea is simply to raise awareness and tell people that if you need help, you seek help. Help is there. And it's not a matter of gender. It does not make you any less masculine. It does not make you any less of a human being. We seek help to avoid catastrophes, and suicide is something that you cannot come back from, sadly. But if you're depressed right now and you seek help as you should, that's something that you can completely recover from.
Definitely.
And that's something that I will always say. This is why in 2017, I felt the need to have a support group because I saw that there were so many people who were suffering around me and they had no outlet. But as I am saying today, we have access to information. Maybe, yes, when you're feeling depressed, it feels way too much to go out, to contact someone, to connect with someone. Especially, I think that when you're a male in this society, it's even harder for you to do that because you have people have a certain expectation of you
Mm-hmm.
to man up.
Mm.
But what does it mean to man up? Does it mean to forget about who you are? Does it
Mm.
mean to live up to other people's expectations but not live up to your own truth?
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean to sacrifice yourself on all levels just to please people who are outside of you, to maintain a kind of regard, a kind of image? Is this what it means to man up? And what does it mean even more to man up? Does it mean that you strain yourself so much that you can't even breathe at the end, that the simple act of taking a breath is too much for you, that you need to kill yourself?
Mm.
Is this the kind of pressure that we are putting on people nowadays? All of this need to be cleared out. People should be, irrespective of their genders, I said that at the beginning and I'm saying it again, irrespective of their genders, people should be allowed to have a space to be themselves. Whether in that space they're sad, they're frustrated, they want to cry, they are not well, they are depressed, people should have that space. And if you're not able to find that space in your family, with your friends, there are professionals out there who can help
Mm-hmm.
you. And if you can't um, get to a professional, you can also find a volunteer who can help you out with this. But
Mm-hmm.
it is of utmost importance that you seek help, irrespective of your gender, because I believe that we all have our place here. We all have the right to live with dignity. We all have the right to live a good life. And we can't comply to other people's expectations of us, especially if it's killing us inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I think, as a modern society, as a society who has access to information, who has so many means of communication, we should be putting forward. It's support towards one another, tolerance, and compassion,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of who it is in front of you. Because that's something, um, I believe that compassion especially is something that we really need nowadays towards each other, especially towards those who are suffering in ways that we can't understand.
Mm.
And you were telling me about figures. I have figures here from the World Health Organization. It has been recorded officially that 264 million people suffer from depression every year.
Mm-hmm.
But this is only what has been recorded
Mm.
in developed countries.
Yeah.
We should also take into consideration, if this is the amount in developed countries, imagine what it would be like if we tally all the numbers, all the figures from the developing countries, from the underdeveloped countries,
Mm-hmm.
etc.,
Yeah.
and all the unreported cases.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Very
it
true.
also mentions that more than 50% cases of people suffering from depression are not reported. People are not encouraged to seek help. People are not supported when they seek help. And I believe that this is the way out. If you want to heal, this is the way out. Seek support, seek help, and this is what you can do on an individual level, but on a collective level, we should really aim to create more awareness about it and destigmatize it. Really destigmatize the issue, because like we've said previously, mental health is as necessary as physical health.
Indeed.
Yeah. Sadly, we can't plaster our heads, but there are treatments available, if you're suffering, or if you know someone who's suffering.
I think the whole point we're trying to make is it's okay, it's normal to talk about it. And if we're very blunt about it, I've gone through trauma and depression states too. And you've gone through them too, and you're still here. That's why, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking about it. It's normal. I mean, that's what we're trying to say, and we're trying to talk as openly as possible. Without trying to take any sides, without having any agenda about it. We're not trying to push any idea about anything. We're just looking at the facts the way they are, and that's what the facts are saying, and we're trying to correlate that with what we see in general in society, and that's what the discussion is about. But more importantly now, what can we do? What can people do?
Firstly, I would like to say thank you for pointing it out that we also went there and we came back. That's the important part. You went there, you had depression, you had trauma, I had anxiety attacks, I had panic attacks. I'm still here, I'm still living, and I believe that this is our testimony for what speaking out does to us, for what seeking help does to us. It gives you a new lease on life. And that's why it's so important to do that. And as you're saying, we are not pushing any kind of agenda. We just want people to know that you can get out of it. You can get out of depression. Yeah. And you were saying, what are the things that we can do to remedy it? Well, I believe I've been saying this all along, ever since we started this discussion. It's seek help. By help, I mean medical help. I know because I've been told the same words, and I know many people who have been told the same words, is do not take medication. A lot of people usually think that, if you take medication, if you're having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, or depression, and you're taking medication, it means that you're going to go crazy or you're going to become an addict or whatever. But the thing is, depression is also a chemical disorder in your brain. It's exactly like having an asthma attack. If I'm having an asthma attack, no one will tell me don't take the salbutamol. And it's the same. If you're having depression, you go see a psychiatrist or a doctor or any professional, medical professional. He's going to prescribe you medicines, and it is for your best interest to take those. If you're having issues with it, the only person that you need to talk to it about is your health care provider, is your doctor, not to your auntie, the guy who that works there, or a friend who is very misinformed and has misconceptions about the subject.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's one. The second one, when I say seek help, is seek therapy. Therapy is very important. Whether it is you go to see a psychologist or you go to see a counselor, it is very important to talk it out. Because even if you're taking the medication, we are still human. We still need that human interaction. Even in the darkest times, that we feel, okay, I have no energy to talk to anyone, which is very normal when you're having depression. Having someone there who can extend empathy to you, who can extend compassion to you, and more importantly, who can just be with you in your suffering,
Mhm.
does has tremendous benefit
Mhm.
on your health.
Mhm.
And what else can you do? Is seek support. Really have a healthy support system. And by that, I mean have people who can carry you through it. I don't mean to just go and unload on them, but this is a moment when you're very fragile, when you're very vulnerable, and you
Mhm.
need to have people by your side
Mhm.
whom you can count on. If your friends and family cannot do it to you for you, then seek it somewhere else. There are
Good
so
point.
many forums online that you can talk to people about it, that you can learn from their experience and share
Mhm.
your own experience.
Mhm.
There are volunteers in this country who are doing the same kind of job, you know.
Mhm.
Um, maybe one, maybe if you speak up, not maybe, but this happened to me when I spoke up about what I was going through. I realized that so many people around me are going through the same,
Yeah.
but they are not able to talk about it. And then when I
Mhm.
started to say, hey, I'm having panic attacks and I've been having insomnia and all that, people would tell me, hey, me too.
Mhm.
And then as a collective, we decided to seek help.
Mhm.
And I think that was beautiful because it allowed me to meet people who were struggling to get out of it. And it allowed me to detach a little bit from the people who were so judgmental about what I was
Mhm.
going through.
Mhm.
And I got the support that I needed. So
Mhm.
that's what I mean by support.
Mhm.
And I believe that another thing that we can do for to help ourselves is to, well, I spoke about therapy, but this is also therapy. It's holistic therapy, things like meditation, yoga, exercises, which is really important.
Mhm.
Um, nature, get in nature, experience the calm, experience the serenity, just get back to your roots, actually. That's a very powerful thing to do. Sound therapy, which works really well,
Mhm.
you know, breath work,
Mhm.
that helps a lot too. Um, there are so many things. If you're in Mauritius, well, when there's no lockdown, and the best thing that you can do if you're suffering from depression, go to the beach, get in a lot of vitamin D from the sun.
Mhm.
Don't mind the people who will tell you, you're going to the beach, you're going to get sunburned, nobody will like you if you get dark skin. Don't mind them. That's not for your highest good. For your highest good, go out there, soak in that vitamin D, right? That's the best advice that I ever got.
Mhm.
That um that's what I've done, and it helped me tremendously.
Mhm.
And finally, I would say that one of the things that's really important to help you climb out of depression and maintain um, a healthy mindset is really to have a healthy lifestyle. What I mean by that is not to fall in any kind of excess. For instance, excessive drinking of
Mhm.
alcohol, excess consumption of caffeine, excess consumption of sugar, which has been proven. There are so many studies that have been made. Sorry, that have been made on the relationship that sugar has with anxiety.
Yeah.
So consuming a lot of sugar makes you hyper, can give you anxiety.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that you need to tone down on. Have a good sleep pattern. I know it's been said way too much. It's been so much said that we don't even listen to it anymore. But go to bed at a reasonable time and switch off that mobile phone for a moment. Really, you don't need more stimulation that you're already getting.
Yeah.
And that sleep time is really sacred. This is the moment when you're allowing yourself just to be. This is the ultimate relaxation moment. So get in bed at a reasonable time. And I am not here to tell you to go to bed by 10 p.m. But when you feel that your body is getting tired, that your mind is getting tired, this is the time, this is the cue, this is the physical and mental cue for you to get in bed and have a proper have a proper hygiene. Get in bed, get the phone out of your bed, and just try to, let the sleep the waves of sleep crash over you. And I would also say, exercise is very important. I mentioned it. Having a good diet. I know that when you're depressed, we don't really feel like eating. And if you're anything like me, when you're depressed or you're having any kind of panic or anxiety attacks, what you want to do is binge eat. Yeah, which I do. And I have to be honest about it. I do it even when I am stressed at work or stressed while studying. I'll just binge eat. I'll eat everything that's in the house, But now I've come to control it. I've been able to control it through meditation, through breath work. When I exercise, I feel so much more relaxed than when I eat, So really have a proper diet. It helps a lot with maintaining your sanity. It helps a lot with maintaining your overall well-being.
Definitely. So, basically taking care of yourself, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
care,
the
right?
that's the most important thing. And
Yeah,
when you think about it,
every day.
yeah. Good way to end it, because if you really take care of yourself, then you can actually take care of others, if you think about it. Yeah, and so that's what we talk about, and taking care of people who need help. In general, keeping an eye open, because you never know who might need help, and things don't just get solved on their own. I think that's one of the key things that should come out from this conversation. Any last words of advice before we close today?
Yes, definitely. Just a quick brush on the symptoms of depression that maybe we could look out for. It's generally that person is generally unhappy, like for a long period of time. It's not like, okay, I am unhappy half day, that means I have depression. For a prolonged period of time, that person is no longer able to sleep, no longer able to eat properly. Very important, they lose interest in daily activities that they previously liked to do. For instance, if I like to play football and all of a sudden I change and I say no, that could be an indicator. And again, it's something repetitive. It's not just one day. Maybe it happens over a week or longer. What else? Sunken mood. Yeah, a very low mood. Yeah, mood swings. Very low energy, I would say. If that person was a person that would get out of bed, brush their teeth, take a shower, and go to work, and now you can notice that they're unable to get out of bed. They are dragging their feet and lugging their body around. That's a warning sign. That's something that we should really look into. And I think that very, very, very important, not to be ignored at all. If someone tells you that they're feeling suicidal or that they want to kill themselves, that's something very important that you should take note of.
Yeah, don't take it lightly.
And don't take it lightly. I'm not telling you to force that person to do something, but seek professional help in that moment.
Exactly.
That's the sanest thing you can do. Seek professional help. You have so many professional psychologists, psychiatrists, associations like Befrienders, etc.
Yeah.
You can seek help from
Yeah.
those places.
Yeah,
And also,
yeah.
just
No, I was just going to say that it's actually easy to seek help nowadays. Even if you don't have the support of your family, you can actually, find a number or even contact a doctor, and the doctor will refer you to someone who can actually help you. So it's not as hard as people think, I would say.
yeah. And if I may just say one
Mhm.
last thing, that yes, there are signs of depression that I have just described, but there are people who suffer covertly, so they don't display any signs. So if there is anyone around you that you might think they are not doing well, do check on them, because you never know behind that smiling, laughing face, well done makeup, pretty dress, what lies beneath that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very right. Yeah. It's so simple, but when you think about it,
It goes very deep.
it's very good. Okay, thanks for being here today, Deeya. We're going to speak
I'm very
very soon.
grateful for this. Yeah,
Yeah, we're going
I'm
to speak
looking
very
forward.
soon on something else.
Definitely.
Okay, see you very soon.
See
Bye bye.
you. Have a bye.